still being recorded, and all is well. Okay, so my notes are here. Perfect. Okay, so let's start this again. So Tammy and I have been working on a training called Commit to Transform. It's a foundation of a training that is dear to our heart because it's been the reason why we've had so much success in our network marketing company. Leadership is really the foundation to everything. And if you did not see last week, then of course we do recommend for you to look at the past training that we've done. If you go to activeteamtraining.com, from there you will notice that there's playlist. The playlist of selection is Active Team webinar. Go for Diamond webinar. Go for Diamond webinar is the playlist that you want to select. And from there, the most recent training is always going to be at the top. So you can see last week's training. And I recommend you do this after this one. Even the order doesn't really matter, since we'll kind of tag on the last training that we did last week. It's a really, really, really important training. Folks, I cannot stress this enough. If you really follow the guidelines we're going to share with you here, it could completely change your life in building a very successful organization that will sustain, it will grow, regardless of what direction you take. And in light of that, last week we talked about some of the basic foundation of choosing to lead. This week, we're going to talk about the key skills of leaders and a self-assessment. This is really good. It's really, really important. And I truly believe it's going to serve you well. So back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, so the qualities that all good leaders share, leaders come in different forms, right? Everybody has different skills that they learned. They come from experience as well. Some of the challenges that they've come across that they're able to really help other people overcome if they've overcome these challenges. So some of the qualities that all good leaders share, you can take a screenshot or write it down. They're very responsible. Leaders always step up to the plate, and they're aware of their surroundings. They're aware of what needs to be done within an organization to help an organization thrive. They're confident. Definitely confident in where they're going and their skills and everything, confident in their people. And it's just a matter of sometimes you see the best in people, and sometimes they don't see it in the moment. And it's to help them overcome that and to be able to see what they have, the leadership that they can demonstrate. And they're decisive, they're empathetic, they're focused, they're extremely focused. They're honest. Most leaders, a good leader is very honest and full of integrity. And of course, very inspirational. They know how to inspire people to become better. As leaders, become better in different circumstances, whether it's skills, and they're very optimistic about the future. And so I always like to rate myself. So look at this, as you look at this, write down the things that really stood out for you, that you really stand for, and that who you are, what you represent. And if there's something there that you feel that you could work on, we are going to do an assessment at the end. These are things that everything can be learned. Honestly, everything can be learned. So it's to find out where you're at and what you want to improve on, really. I know
I agree.
Yeah, we
Go ahead.
spent how many years? 26 years developing and working on our skills, and so that we can become a great leader. And we're still working on it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That is always, I mean, it's a work in progress, right? It's a life kind of learning curve. It's not something that you ever master. There's always going to be situation, but some of those qualities here, in fact, all of them are absolutely critical. And I can tell you that honesty is very important. Transparency is very important. And it's okay to share some vulnerability as a leader. And in fact, people do appreciate that. See, last week we talked about a study that was made over 300,000 business leaders that reveal some of the following top abilities. I just want to revise that because this was so important. See, these are all the skills that can be developed and utilized in various area of your life. It's not just about making the money and the business aspect of things. It's in your relationship. It's with your friendship. It's the relationship with your spirituality. It's a relationship with your business. It affects the decisions and everything else. And these concepts here we talked about strategic thinking, and we'll talk about those as a matter of fact, right? And that's the reason why I'm presenting this, because we're going to cover those. Inspiring and motivating, very important. Critical thinking and analyzing and problem solving and abilities, demonstrating transparency. I just talked about that a moment ago. Integrity and honesty. This is so important. I mean, I live by that. That is so important. This one thing that you'll be remembered by is this here when you leave, right? Developing others is so important. That's something, as you know, Tammy and I have been so adamant. That's the reason why we do these trainings. People charge a lot of money to do these kind of trainings. It's part of the process for us. It's part of, what you give to your team. So you can help your team evolve and recognize what are the areas of their lives they need to improve upon if they want to get to that ultimate lifestyle that they want, or whatever it is that they choose, right? Driving results, very important. That's one thing about leaders, is they're always looking for results, right? You need to you can't just roam around and study forever. At one point, you got to make the money. You gotta have some results, and so you have to evaluate. And we'll talk about these things. Communicating powerfully and effectively. This is really, really important. Building the relationship. We talked about that. That's again the foundation, which is in line with integrity and honesty and that, and building displaying the technical professional expertise. This is important, right? You need someone in a team that can help with the technical stuff and the details, because it's all coming together. Creating innovation and creating an environment of safety for the team to be able to feel a sense of direction, vision, and then we what we're working towards is planned. And sometimes innovation, you got to think outside the box, especially in today's economy, right? If you just kind of like a leaf in the wind in today's society, you might be, you'll disappear with the wind, right? Whatever you're doing may not be there in a year or 2 or 3 from now. So it's important to always innovate and create and find directions for you to move forward. Tammy and I absolutely love Max International. We love the company. We love what it stands for. I love the relationship I have with our CEO and the executive of the company. And I just love everything about our company. But at the same time, we like to evolve and thinking outside the box. So it's very important that I'm just giving you a quick example here. So back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, so we also shared this slide if you were on last week's call, but leaders are all about developing people and of course themselves, right? It's being the catalyst of positive events. It's being an influence on others' lives. And that is I have to say, that is the most rewarding part of the whole thing, is to watch somebody go from, and you all started like we did at the very beginning, and look at who you are today. Look at where you've come from. And that is because we've all been led to become better people, better leaders, become more influential. And that's got to be the one that just drives me every single day to do more, so I can help more people break out of their shells, right? And you're going to recognize the impact that you're going to have on people, beyond, it's way beyond money and power. Of course, I'm not into the power thing, but it's way beyond that. It's about helping people. And that's why I love network marketing. And of course, we've built such an incredible culture around Max, and the products are so amazing. I see PJ just putting up his Enfuse boxes, which is phenomenal, because it excites me to know that people can't wait to be on these products. And you know, it's kind of good that we go on back order sometimes, because then we really, you know, we get so comfortable being on a product, and then we realize when we don't have it, it's like, oh my God, I really need this stuff. So yeah, so I just love what we are and what we stand for in promoting our products. And there's something really
You
big
know, Tammy,
coming. There's
the
something really
downside,
big coming.
the downside is we live in Florida for you know, 5 months out of the year, and all our products arrive in Florida.
They just
So,
delivered them in our unit.
so
Thank
that's a bit
God
of a
there's a
problem.
2-year
So
expiry date. Thank God.
we got a lot of products over there right now. So the good thing is we won't need to bring products in Florida when we go there
Yeah.
at our next
So
visit.
we have to wait until the beginning of July, unless we place an order.
Yeah. So the other thing we're going to talk about is strategic thinking, and it's very important. One of the skill that you know, that's expected of leadership is organization, and the ability to think and plan and have a strategic approach and doing things. You know, this skill allows you to you know, identify opportunities and find kind of different directions in what it is that we can do, so the team could be in a better situation, or the team could be profitable, or how do we face these current challenges? You know, we've been dealing with some products that are back ordered, and we're dealing with a difficult economy. Things are changing. Folks, you may or may not be aware of, but network marketing companies are having a heck of a hard time in their days because of all the changes with the banking systems. And, you know, we've heard some of the banks that have been failing. And because of that, they're very tight on how they go about doing things that was a lot loose before. So we need to be creative. And folks, again, I don't want to spill the beans, but there's some exciting news coming with Max International. I'm not kidding here.
Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, we're not in the liberty to share anything simply because, you know, we made some commitment, but this is exciting. I'm really, really excited about the future. So it's important. Again, it's all part of how do you deal with the challenges? How do you evolve? How do you strategically think of better ways to move forward, considering, you know, what we're facing? Right. So it's important that we understand that the absence of competency will lead people to be completely in a situation where, you know, people may not choose to follow you. So what's important is you team up, partner with people that have the competence in the area that you need help. And this is all about partnering. That's where working as a team is so critical, because we can support each other. I have many weaknesses. Right? My communication skills, especially writing, it's not my forte. I tend to get, okay, let's go. Let's be productive. Let's do this. But I won't look at the details sometimes. So, but there's people around me that are like eagle eyes that will literally look at, I mean, my wife will literally correct me a lot on some of the things. And there's Jasmine, and I appreciate that, Jasmine, that will correct my English in many aspects, right? So these are things that when you're surrounded by good people around you, then it complements your weaknesses. And that's what a team is all about. So strategic thinking is very important, and surrounding yourself with the right people is also important.
Yeah. And of course, inspiring and motivating. Chris, you must have skipped a slide.
No, that's the next one, Tammy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the inspiring leaders, people who have the ability to be in front of a group or in front of an audience and just move them. That is something, because that's bringing the best out of others. It's really helping people see the best in themselves. I love this part of it. That's why I like sharing this slide. And motivating leaders always push others to do more and to bring, of course, the best out of themselves. People who work for an inspiring leader are always enthusiastic. They're always energetic. They always have that drive to be, to do, to have, and moving forward. They're always engaged, and they believe that what they do is essential, and people need it, and people want to be around it, and that's what it's all about. And when you have that ability to lead somebody in this way, you really nailed it. You'll build a huge organization. And we've seen it over and over. We see all kinds of leadership that come into Max.
I so agree, Tammy. And so often folks, people focus on the symptom rather than the cause.
Mm.
I don't want to put down our medical system, but we know, right, around the pharmaceutical world, they don't focus on the cause. They focus on the symptoms, and they treat the symptoms, not the cause. It's always been the problem. And that's the reason why supplementing and the nutraceutical environment is so important. They should work hand on hand, and some do, as a matter of fact. So again, when a leader faces a problem, and they're in a position to think and analyze the problem to find a solution, that's how we move forward together. And this is exactly what's going on in our world right now. CEOs and owners and companies and leadership, and we work together and says, okay, how can we solve this considering these challenges that we're facing in this current economy? That's how you move. That's how Apple Corporation, I love to use Apple, because Apple went through ups and downs and some really, really tough times. And even Microsoft went in, which people thought Microsoft was the enemy of Apple. Well, Microsoft probably owns more than half of Apple, right? I mean, you may or may not know this, but Apple is in business because Microsoft chose to invest into Apple. And then that's what saved Apple. Now Apple is one of the most known and popular computer company in the world, right? So see what happens. Sometimes you come across situations and challenges, and you need to humble yourself and get the support you need to be able to find, bridge to gap the situation that may occur at the moment, to be able to fully expand your possibilities, your skills and talents and whatever it is that you may offer to the world. And we know Max International has products that are so important in the world. I mean, we hear what's going on. We have a solution. So that's what's coming in the future with our company is going to be crazy exciting. The world is going to know who we are. So I'm going to stop talking now. So I'm just going to continue on leadership. So the fact is that it's important, again, to identify the issues underlying the symptoms, right? But really focusing on the cause and how to solve, how to move forward, and providing solutions. That's what leadership does. And with the right leadership, regardless of what you face, whatever problem you're facing, I'm telling you, it will be a no-brainer if you handle this with vision and direction and what's the word I'm looking for? With not assertive, but with confidence in knowing what we have to offer is something that people need and people want. So this is why I'm very excited about the future, because we have the right people sitting at the helm. And that's what leadership is. I was just kind of using some concrete examples of what we're dealing with and facing, and understanding, again, these are underlying examples of what we're talking about.
Yeah, and demonstrating transparency, integrity, and honesty. And we always talk about that. To be successful in life or in business, of course, you have to be honest, right? People can tell. They know when somebody is sharing garbage or if they're really speaking from their heart. And it's important to be transparent with your people, but at the same time, always be inspiring, of course. It's important to lead by all of this and demonstrate all of this, because that's how you're going to build a business based on trust, right? It's all about trust. We've talked a lot about trust, and when you don't do something right, then you break that trust. And we've all done it. We're all human beings, and it takes a lifetime to get that back, if you get it back. And you'll never get it back the way you'll have it initially. So it's so important to be that, right? Is to build that up. And honesty is the basis on which all other aspects are based. The leader is a model of integrity for everybody else around. And it's about being a role model to inspire others to behave similarly. So you're the example. At the end of the day, you're the example of what you're developing within others. And that should be on your top priority.
Agreed, Tammy. And the next point we want to talk about is developing others. This is the duplication aspect, right? Great leaders are not afraid to recognize the skills of others and also to support others into development. Tammy talked about that. Some people don't realize how much power they have simply because they don't see it yet. And good leadership can pick up on that and nurture that. And from there is to be able to kind of to give them the right environment to make sure that you can transcend your knowledge so they can do better with the knowledge. And the one thing that I realize is truly everybody has the opportunity to learn to grow. It's just the willingness to want to grow. And the one thing I can tell you that I've seen over the years in mentoring so many people in our network marketing company with our team, it's to recognize every step of the way the improvement that they're doing. And when you do that, and people recognize something they do well, it's just a human nature, right? And when they recognize that, what happens, and I mentioned this in the past in other training calls that we've done, it's a credibility deposit into that big bank of yours in your mind, that credibility bank deposit. And every time you do one step, for example, you start doing a presentation and the person decides that, yes, I'm in, I want to get involved. That sense of accomplishment, that's a deposit. Someone becomes a customer. You go to a trade show and you sell products and people are buying. They're using their credit card. They're using their money to be able to buy the product that you just presented. Boom, more credibility deposits. And suddenly you reach a rank. Boom, another credibility deposit. Oh, suddenly you get a paycheck. Oh, boom, another credibility. And that will compound. And this is how the leadership grows and grows and grows. And that's how you develop others. So again, I like to give concrete examples based on how we live and what we've recognized in line to what we're talking about.
Yeah, learning, creating, and innovating. This is my favorite part. I've always had this creative mind. It doesn't matter what I did. I always found ways to have success in anything I ever did. I can think of lots of things as a child. And not only are leaders supportive of others' learnings, but they also thrive in their own learning ability to learn new things, to create new things, and just to try, just try something, see if it works. If it doesn't work, try something else and learn from other people. Somebody might try something and then you can expand on that. And I just love that. Well, you all know that I came from a swimsuit designing business, so creativity is in my blood. So they're not afraid to say that they don't know, and they always learn. They always learn about it. They always evolve, and leaders always embrace change. And in any opportunity that they have, they always embrace the change and in moving forward. So yeah, that's what I love about Max. There's so much creativity and so many great things that we've done over the years that we've seen so many people hit incredible ranks in this company because it all started with the foundation of that creativity. Yeah.
I agree, Tammy. And, this point of driving results, the reason why leaders tend to get results is because they have an ultimate clarity on the results they're looking for. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly how many steps I need to do to get there. All I need to do is get to work and do the steps. And that's what drives results. It's clarity. And it's important to relate that to others. That's why training the comp plan, training on what our product does. You don't need to be a medical practitioner or a scientist or a doctor and everything. What you need is to understand the benefits and how the benefits are going to benefit the person that you're talking to. right? So it's important to establish clarity on these areas. And when the clarity is established, people will not hesitate, right? So that's again, this is the part of driving results. I cannot stress this enough. That's why they drive results, because they know how to engage others into action that will lead them to success. But you need to take action. Knowledge is wonderful, but knowledge on ice doesn't move, right? So they understand how people are evolve with goals and reaching the goals that will spark the passion, right? That will move them forward. It goes back to my point earlier. When you start getting results here and results there, it sparks that belief and that passion to want more, to get more. You're able to accomplish more, and that's what drives results.
And leaders communicate in a powerful and effective way. It's one thing to know where you're going, but it's another to have the ability to communicate a clear message, a clear plan, a clear goal with the organization. So they see the big picture. They're the visionary in getting people to move towards all the things that they truly desire. That is a skill. It really is. But you gotta create your own goals and move towards them so that you can eventually teach and express that with others. Because if you've achieved some big things, and you've obviously, it comes from here first, and then you create that clear vision that you can achieve it, and you move towards it, like Chris says, that driving action, then you can inspire anybody, and you can move anybody to move towards that goal or dream. And this is something that we've been doing for so many years. And the biggest communication tool a leader has is their ability to do this, really. And yeah, and what you see is what you get. So go out there and make things happen, and inspire others to do the same.
Yeah, I agree. And Tammy, building the relationship, and I know both of us, we really work on that. And it's again, it's the foundation to how we work, right? It's important that understanding as a leader, the role that I've acquired is to be able to always maintain and build a relationship with this organization, with the people within the organization. Right. And it's important also that they familiarize themselves with the lives. And again, I'm not saying to pry into personal details of their people's lives, but have an understanding of what they want and what they need and what they want to achieve. Right. Not everybody wants to be a crown diamond, but a lot of people, they certainly want to have their products paid for. And a lot of people would love to have a sense of security where they don't need to tap into their life savings for maintaining their lifestyles, but there's some kind of a passive income or residual income. A residual income is a bit different from passive, because passive is completely hands off, and residual income, well, you do need to stay in touch with what's going on to maintain the organization, maintain the business, but it's all part of that relationship. The relationship is the foundation, is the concrete of an organization. This is one of the reasons where often I see these newcomers network marketing reaching these big heights very quickly, but they don't build relationship. It's all social media. There's no connection. There's no interpersonal connection. It's all based on excitement and at the moment, but that dies out, right? So that's why meeting people, that's why Tammy and I, even, prior to COVID, even after COVID, we've been traveling, not as much as we used to or we want to. But the reason why we've been traveling, and you guys have followed us over the years, is because we value that personal connection. Yes, it's the older, the 80s and 90s way of building, but it's the way that will sustain massive growth over time. Social media, it will knock at your door, you'll get their attention, but you need to pass that. It's just one means to connect to someone, but then you need to communicate with that person. You need to get to know that person. They need to get to know you so they can build the trust and they can see the competence and the willingness of that you have been willing to help them. That is not just, you're not just a number that satisfy a compensation plan paycheck,
That's
right? It's way beyond that. And that's what I mean by building the relationship, right? So anyway, these are my thoughts, Demi.
All right, we're almost done here, you guys, and then we're going to have the questions that we highly recommend you take screenshots of those slides so that you can work on this. So displaying technical and professional expertise, people look up to people who know things. They look up to people who can demonstrate skills and knowledge in their field, right? So in our circumstance with Max, it's obviously we need to have some type of knowledge about the products. You know, we need to be able to share benefits. We need to be able to share the stories that are going on to create the excitement in the team, and always helping people evolve. That is such a big thing, and people will follow that. And the same applies, well, same thing when it comes to the leaders. They got to do the same thing themselves, as well as the people within the organization. And you can be a leader in your area if you are good at it. And I know that every single one of you can lead. We've seen all of you do some great things within your organization. So the more you do it, the more you display that regularly within your organization, you're going to see some incredible results. And people want to follow people who are professional in the way they do their business, right? So that is really important. So we're going to go ahead. Chris, is there another? Okay, we're going to go right into the 15 questions. So I guess we'll just go back and forth, but please screenshot this stuff because there are 15 questions. I know personally myself, I like to go through these and I like to rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 and to see where I know that I need to improve on. And every year, Chris and I make it a habit every year to take a course, to learn something so that we can evolve in our skills. And we'll always be that way. I don't even care if we're not even in business anymore and we're older and I see myself in business forever, but I always want to evolve and learn. And it's always important. It's important to me anyways. So the 15 questions, can you identify your 3 main strengths? If you can, write them down. And if you're not too sure, the best thing to do, and it's good to do this anyways, is to ask people, what are your strengths? And I know some of you have done this on social media. When you say, what are my 3 main strengths? And people are going to respond that know you. And they're going to tell you what they think your strengths are. And
tell me what would be good.
That's important.
And as we're sharing here, anyone in the group, every one of you, feel free to pick one of your main strengths and type it into the chat while we're listing these up here. Okay. We're asking you to identify 3 of the main strengths, but just type 1 into the chat room. Love to see that. Back to you, Tammy.
All right. And number 2, can you identify your 3 main areas of concern where you might be challenged? What are those 3 areas for you? And if you feel like demonstrating that one, is totally up to you if you want to throw it out there, because that's how we learn, right? It's important to be transparent because somebody might be really good in that area that you might be challenged. So let's say, for example, it's because I know a lot of people have a challenge with organization when it comes to planning their business, planning their strategy, planning stuff like that. It's to get that under their belt so they can move forward and just run with it, right? So everybody has their things. It could be you got so many things on your plate that you need to eliminate some stuff, right? I know that was my big thing. It was all the things that I had to do that were holding me back from being the best that I could be in the network marketing field. And this is when my kids were young, and I went through a lot of things that I was able to delegate that helped me just thrive in this profession, right? So take the time and do this stuff, because that's going to help you evolve in such a big way. And you're going to be able to lead and help other people overcome some of these challenges that they might have, the concerns that they might have in certain areas.
You go ahead, Tammy. You do the first three.
All right. So do your actions reflect your words and values? Oh my gosh. This is a good one. Be transparent with yourself. Be honest with yourself, because it's important to do this. Sometimes we're not happy with the things that we say, and we finish our day and nothing happens. Maybe you're putting too many things on your plate. It could be the simplest things that could solve some challenges for you in evolving as a leader.
So number 4 is, do you listen? This is really important here. Do you listen carefully to the ideas of those who disagrees with you? Right? That is a big one, because sometimes we're quick to dismiss because it's not in our ecosystem. But if we sit back and reflect, it might be the problem solving. I'm not saying that it will every time, but the point is to listen carefully on others' ideas that can actually really serve you well. Really, really important, right? Do you listen carefully? And again, these are questions that you're posing yourself to evaluate your leadership abilities. Number 5 is, are you bold enough to ask for feedback, right? Or are you too shy, right? Or know yourself better. What is this? What am I going on here? Are you bold enough to ask for feedback on your behavior and use the information you gather as a tool to get to, there's a T missing, to know yourself better. Okay, so so the fact here is, when I need help, I do not hesitate. I will ask for feedback. I am not shy about this, right? And when I get information, right, then I will see, okay, what do I need to do to understand this, or to get a better understanding of that? And that I've said that very often, my go-to place is YouTube. How do I do whatever it is that I'm looking for? I'm telling you, I have fixed my battery car. I have fixed my car. I have fixed my stove in Florida that was failing. I have fixed some plumbing, toilets. I have fixed my laptop. I've changed batteries. I've changed process. Folks, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a tech. I mean, I'm a techie guy, but I've never fixed a computer in my life. But if you look for the right information, and you have a mind that is willing to learn and willing to absorb and apply it, you can do anything. And that's the point here. So number 5 is really, really important, right? Are you bold enough to ask for feedback and to search for what you need, and find tools to be able to help you with what you need to learn? Very important. So the other one is, when others do something wrong, do you take the time to help them to see what they need to change? Or again, we're talking as a leader here, so they can solve the problem, right? Again, this is a very important skill. If when someone does something wrong, is, again, you don't want to say you've done this wrong, but more of, okay, I understand that this is not really working. Can I show you? Are you open for me to give you some feedback? And then from there start sharing. So just be mindful of how you approach this. I know I'm trying to be very diplomat in that aspect, but that's really important. See, when someone is in a mess, you don't want to leave in the mess, but you want to say, okay, here's what I recommend you do to be able to get out of that mess, to be able to get to the results that you're looking for. So again, this is something that are, again, underlying good leadership. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, number 7 is, do you have the ability to access the state of your environment and shape it to be better? And, that's a huge ability right there. And because you're going to have a lot of situations in your environment, in your organization, that sometimes you have to to deal with some challenges or an individual, and you'd have to pull them aside, of course, and have conversations about that, but to be able to shape it up, you know, to create a better, a healthier environment. I'm just kind of making an example based on some of the experiences we have, but it could be many things, right? So it's having that ability to see something, a state of something in the environment that you're in, and to be able to make something better from that situation. Yeah.
Totally agree. And PJ, I was reading your comment. I couldn't help by smiling. We can all relate to that for sure. This is awesome. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Again, we're moving on to 15 qualification that will help you define your leadership ability. And folks, take this assessment for your own good. What we're sharing with you here can really, really change your life. I'm not kidding. It has changed ours. Do you have the ability to communicate a vision or a goal? This is really important. Are you in a position to share people the possibilities and the vision of as to where we can go? Because that is exactly what you needed to communicate when we're dealing with challenges like product that are back orders, right? Things are going to get better. I'm telling you, it's just around the corner. But while things are not going so good, are you in a position to help communicate the vision and the goal? Or do you just kind of complain with them and go along with the complaint without them seeing the bigger picture? Because I'm telling you that if you do that, well, when I say do that, if you do focus on sharing the vision, communicate the possibilities, it will completely change the ecosystem of how an associate may feel when things are not going so well. And Tammy, was that my turn to continue, or you just did 7? It was your turn to continue, right?
Oh, whoops.
You go ahead.
Okay. Do you have the ability to mobilize people, to move people? Do you have that ability? Like when, you know, often people come in this business and they don't know what to do, right? It's normal. People don't know what to do. Are you able to move them? Are you able to inspire them? Are you able to do this? I mean, you develop that within, you will have a thriving organization. So it's to be able to move people, and through inspiration, through sitting down and working their strategy on their goal. What's the next goal that what is the first goal that your new person wants to achieve? Existing people in your organization that are stagnant, you know, what would they love to do, be, and have? I mean, if you don't know that, then it's hard to mobilize and move people into directions, right? So yeah, do you have the ability to do that? If not, it's something that you can work on. Yeah. Number 10, do you have the, oh my God, Chris, I don't even know how to say that word.
Propensity to encourage rather than criticize.
See, I'm not perfect.
None of us are. So the fact here is, are you a person or the kind of leader that will encourage rather than criticizing on the problem or in a situation? Because that, I know for me, dealing with criticism opposed to encouraging has the counter effect. And I remember with teachers, and as I grew up, teachers that were criticizing, I didn't do well with them at all. But the teacher that were encouraging, I was excelling at it, right? That was me. So I can tell you that criticizing, if you need to criticize, if I may use that, use the sandwich effect. You do something positive, then the criticism, if you want, the constructive criticism, we should say.
Yes, constructive.
And then the sandwich with, again, another positive quality, right? So you again, positive, the constructive criticism in the middle, and you finish with a positive. That leaves people feeling good, knowing there's something to work on. That's good leadership. Very, very important. Do you want to do 11, Tammy?
Sure. Do you have the ability to take risks? That's a big one. So many people are afraid to step out. They're afraid to do that. And honestly, fear is, we all know this, it's just something that's created in your mind and you just stick with it. But if you step out of that, you'll realize that what you were talking yourself out of to move forward actually wasn't as bad as what you thought it would be. For me personally, when I went up in front of the stage the first time, it was the worst experience ever. And but when I got off of the stage, everybody was coming up to me going, "Oh, you did a great job, you did a great job." So it kind of built that up to like, "Oh my God, it wasn't so bad." And then you do it again and you do it again, and you get better and better and better, and you realize what you create in your head is not so bad anyways, you know. And people appreciate that you step out and take risks.
And number 12 is, do you have the sense of innovation and creativity? We talked a lot about that. And folks, remember that these are all abilities that you can develop, you can grow into. And remember that leadership is a journey. You're never going to be perfect, right? The only person, or if we want to call being called perfect, is the Almighty, if I may say. But us as humans, we're always developing, we're always evolving, we're always growing into something, right? So important to keep that in mind. But again, this is something that I think is important to sit back and reflect on. How can I innovate? What can I create? What can I improve upon? What can I do better? What can I, what can I do to make the situation better, to create a better sense of security for the team? And what is it that we can do? And then you innovate, right? So that's number 12. I'll do number 13, Tammy, is to have the ability to make quick decision. I do have that, sometimes too quick. But see, the thing is, it's important that as a leader, you got to make, sometimes you got to make quick decision, and there's not a lot of time, right? And if you don't make the decision quick enough in a situation that requires a quick response, then you may get the reverse effect that you're looking, right? And sometimes that making quick decision comes with experience. It's because you've lived through scenarios that that are circling back over and over, and you can recognize the pattern. You can almost anticipate that there's going to be a problem, and you can give a quick response to, here's what we need to do, here's what we need to shift gear towards, because we know where we're going if we continue in this direction, right? So it's the ability to make quick decision. That is an amazing leadership skills. But to make quick decision, it's more than just making a quick decision. It's making a wise, quick decision to make sure that you don't fall in the mud, but you continue moving forward. Back to you, Tammy.
And number 14 is, do you recognize your mistakes rather easily? I know I do. And I do my best to learn from them. Sometimes you repeat it a few times, and that's okay, right? So, having that ability to do that, and not allowing pride or ego to take over. What's that saying? Would you rather be right or rich? And sometimes you just got to let go and recognize some of the things that you can, improve on, the mistakes that you create or make. Or, I've made many mistakes in conversation with people, and I sit back and realize, because you're dealing with so many personality traits. And sometimes, in my case, sometimes I can be strong for some personality types. And sometimes I have to step back a little bit, and then I'll have to make that other phone call and fix things when it comes to people, personalities, and stuff like that. So is to be able to recognize that and go back and just fix it, honestly, and become better and learn from it. The most important thing is learn from all of this stuff. And do your best not to repeat it. Yeah.
And I noticed, Tammy, that 15 is missing. So along the way, we lost it. So I'm going to make one up. Is, do you have the ability to be patient enough to stay the course in good times and in tough times? That's 15. Do you have the ability to be patient enough to stay the course? Because, folks, I'm telling you that life will often throw curveballs at you. And I see that as tests. And are you really committed? Is it something that you're really going to do? And one of the reason I truly believe, or part of the reason that I truly believe that Tammy have reached the pinnacle twice in building our network marketing company, it's the fact that we stayed the course in good times and in tough times. We've had some really, really tough times. I think after our third or fourth year, as we were building Max, when the organization fell apart because one of our little dragons became a big dragon and decided to leave and started recruiting within. But despite that, we hit Crown Diamonds. We stayed the course. We kept moving forward. We keep doing the activities daily. And that's the number 15, is the patience to let it to go through the challenges and staying the course despite what's going on. I'm telling you, things always get better. There's one thing that I know about life, just looking at the stock market, looking at anything in life. Everything that goes up goes down. Everything that goes down goes up. Everything goes up goes down. Everything goes down goes up. I think you get me here, right? It's life. And people are so emotionally attached to the moment, not realizing that tomorrow things change, situation changes, things improve. I know right now things are not ideal, but I assure you that we're preparing for some massive growth. In the meantime, evolve, learn, stay the course, and keep doing the activities. So that ends our training session. And let me just stop the share here. Choosing to lead is a decision. And we really hope that these two segments have helped you get a better understanding. There's a lot more to this training that is available. You can check. We have a team support called Commit to Transform. Check some of the stuff that is available there, and feel free to expand on that and venture further. So we kind of went through the first, I think, 2 chapters on what we just covered here. There's so much more to it than that. So next week, Tammy and I want to talk about affirmations, positive affirmations. Again, this is something that, it's part of our book. We wrote this in our book, right, Tammy?
Mm-hmm.
The things that we used to say to ourselves and the things that we say to ourselves today. What you think about expend. How many times have you heard me say that? What you think about expands. So we want to talk about that next week. And so we can kind of share with you some of the things that Tammy practice daily, every night when we go to bed and every morning when I wake up. What are the things that we say to ourselves? Because the mind is a powerful, powerful ally, or it may play against you based on what you tell it. And so we want to talk about these things. So as we end this session, Tammy, it's 9:00. Did you want to add anything else?
No, we're good. So
okay,
if you
folks,
got
I hope that was
good out of tonight's session, throw a heart. We'd like to get some feedback, and feel free to private message us as well, because our goal is always to help grow the organization, and and to help people kind of get out of that stuck mode if you're in that stuck mode. Because I know that in this business, it's not always like this. There's times that it's like this, there's times that it's like this, so it's to be able to help each other evolve and get out of sometimes those situations that keep us stuck in and not growing mode. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending. Thank you for participating this evening. Really, really appreciate you. And we look forward to next week. And I know that what we share with you here will help you because it has defined our lifestyle. It has defined the results that we are living today. So again, everybody, have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. And I think, is it long weekend this weekend, Tammy?
It
Right?
is.
It's
So
Canada
are we
Day on
doing a
Monday.
call on Monday or no way?
Yeah. I think we're going to reschedule the call. I like to make sure that
Because
we
I know the
practice.
US is July 4th, right?
Yeah, July 4th is
Mhm.
Independence Day in the United States. July 1st is Canada Day. So everybody have yourself a wonderful long weekend. So on Monday, we're not going to have a call. So it'll be rescheduled to the following Monday. In the meantime, we're always available. If you need us for anything, you want to chat, let us know. We're here for you. Everybody have yourself a wonderful evening and thank you for attending. And bye for now. Thank you for your wonderful feedback.